me, you're not grown till you leave my house. That isn't how you want to run your family. I have no choice but to respect that. But don't pretend as if it isn't an unpopular sentiment to her.
Once Zion came home and said, hey, you called me Zaya and I'm ready to take on this, I looked at it and said, you are a leader. You are a leader, and this is our opportunity to allow you to be a voice.
Sister Zaya Wade, the daughter of Dwyane Wade, and the stepdaughter of Gabrielle Union had social media in a frenzy after posting a photo of her kissing her boyfriend, who was also transgender.
The internet just hit DEFCON 1 over the Wade household, and not for the reasons they wanted. What started as a seemingly empowering post about love and identity exploded into one of the darkest, most polarizing Hollywood family dramas of the year. When Zaya Wade, Dwyane Wade, and Gabrielle Union's trans daughter posted a photo kissing her transgender boyfriend, it sparked an avalanche of commentary that quickly spiraled out of control. But then, something unexpected happened. Instead of silence or support, legendary comedian D.L. Hughley jumped into the fire, calling out Gabrielle Union directly. His message? You can't throw your entire family business into the spotlight, rake in the brand deals, and then act shocked when people have opinions. And he didn't stop there. DL made it crystal clear that he, like many others, wasn't comfortable with a child making life-altering decisions before adulthood, especially under the camera lights of celebrity influence. But it didn't end with commentary. The real eruption came when Zaya's biological mother, Savon Funches, came forward with legal receipts and disturbing allegations that make this story bigger than one family. It opens up a whole sinister conversation about what's really going on in Hollywood when it comes to kids, identity, and industry power. But before we dive into the allegations, accusations, and deep industry speculations surrounding the Wade household, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Because what's unfolding here isn't just gossip, it's a cultural reckoning with how far parents, brands, and entire industries will go in the name of progress or profit.
He wants to be a woman. That's why they're getting divorced. She went on Twitter cussing out Diddy and then deleted it because Diddy want to throw Dwyane a divorce freak off. Decisions while you and your I want to be a husband convince your child that they need to get the whole trans thing going on now so they can get a Disney contract. And we all know what Disney does to children. Imagine what they do to trans kids.
Let's rewind to the surface-level version of this story. Zaya Wade, born Zion in 2007, came out as transgender at age 12, and by 15, she was kissing her boyfriend in a glamorous social post that turned her into a Gen Z icon overnight. On the surface, this is 2026, live your truth, express yourself, be loud and proud. But once D.L. Hughley got wind of the situation, he issued a brutal dose of old-school parenting. "You're not grown if you still live in my house," he said. "You're not grown if you need my permission to see a PG-13 movie." And his core message was even more unfiltered. If Gabrielle Union and Dwyane Wade didn't want public critique, maybe they shouldn't have made their child's identity the centerpiece of a national media tour. This wasn't just a family supporting their daughter, he argued it was a family leveraging a child's transition for the press. But the backlash Gabrielle faced from DL was just the beginning, because right behind him came someone who hadn't spoken loudly in years, Zaya's biological mother, Savon Funches. And when she spoke, she didn't hold back. Savon.
20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender.
Who was married to Dwyane Wade back when Zion, now Zaya, was born, is now alleging that the entire public-facing journey of Zaya's transition wasn't just about acceptance, but about industry manipulation. In fact, she filed court documents accusing Dwyane of fast-tracking Zaya's legal gender and name change so he could, in her words, profit off of it. Let that sink in. According to her, the push for transition wasn't led by the child. It was orchestrated by the adults for the sake of fame, brand deals, and a seat at the cultural table. But what turned this into a full-blown exposé is what she claims Dwyane told her directly. She says he admitted that a lot of money has already been made from Zaya's transition and that more money was on the way. She says Disney was name-dropped, endorsements were in play, and that he intended to make Zaya very famous as a face of the new generation.
Also disingenuous to believe that people aren't going to have an opinion of that.
Yeah.
If you make these things public, there are people going to have public assessments of it.
Right.
So I can't fault you for loving your child and protecting them and being proud of them. And it would be equally, I can't fault people for having an opinion.
These weren't speculations, they were claims made in official court filings. And when Dwyane fired back, it wasn't a denial of the money conversation, it was a character assassination. He accused Savon of being absent, unstable, and opportunistic, but fans weren't buying it. Many started seeing through the media polish and asking whether Zaya's transition had truly been about love or if it had become another product of the Hollywood machine. What's even more chilling is how far back this goes. Gabrielle and Dwyane say Zaya knew she was transgender at age 3. And while that might sound inspiring to some, to others, it's a red flag the size of a billboard. Zaya was barely potty trained, and her entire sense of self was already being shaped into a narrative the media could package. And that narrative only intensified once Gabrielle Union and Dwyane Wade took the story public. Red carpet appearances, national interviews.
You're not grown till you leave my house. You're not going. If you're still going to a pediatrician, if you need my permission to go to a movie, then I'm going to have a say in what happens. If you believe that isn't how you want to run your family, I have no choice but to respect that. But don't pretend as if it isn't an unpopular sentiment.
Magazine spreads, partnerships with Tiffany & Co. and Dove. Suddenly, Zaya wasn't just living her truth, she was a brand. But behind the glitz, a storm was brewing. Jaguar Wright industry whistleblower and former music insider went on record years ago, hinting that something about the Wade household gave her pause. She hinted that Dwyane was facing intense pressure from his inner circle, that Gabrielle was orchestrating more than just stepmotherly support, and that Zaya's transition lined up eerily well with the kind of identity-driven branding that opens doors in Hollywood, especially with legacy names like Disney Watching. And then it got darker, because according to Savon, she was systematically removed from Zaya's life for daring to say what millions of parents were quietly thinking, that maybe, just maybe, 12 years old was too young to undergo permanent medical transitions. She says Dwyane used his influence, money, and legal team to shut her out, painted her as crazy, got doctors and police involved. And when that didn't work, the media machine went into overdrive, positioning Gabrielle as the hero, Dwyane as the progressive dad, and Savon as the villain.
She was the one who sat down with us as a family and said, hey, I don't think I'm gay, right? I identify myself as a young lady, but she's known that for 9 years.
She's known since she was 3.
She's known since she was 3 years old. This is her life. This is no game to us. We're about protecting her heart. We're about protecting her joy. To do that, we have to support them. We see the smile on our daughter's face. We see the confidence that she's able to walk around and be herself, and that's when you know you're doing right.
But here's the twist: fans didn't forget the timeline. Dwyane filed for divorce from Savon the same year Zaya was born, and just a few years later, Gabrielle Union was in the picture, and not just in the background. She became the face of Zaya's journey. She was the one speaking to press. She was the one defending the family online. And if you believe DL Hughley, and many do, she was also the one doing the most talking when she should have been doing more protecting. Because while the Wades were celebrating acceptance, the internet was turning Zaya into a target. Creepy comments, harassment, meme culture, mockery. And instead of shielding her daughter, many say Gabrielle fanned the flames, jumping into online arguments, posting Zaya repeatedly, making her the center of every Pride feature and LGBTQ+ celebration. And when people finally pushed back, saying Zaya was being overexposed and maybe even exploited, Gabrielle didn't step back. She doubled down. And that's when DL Hughley said what others were too scared to say.
You know what you mean to this community from what you do with your daughter. So tell me how it feels to be at an event like this where you can share in that love.
It feels pretty amazing because Zaya is my date tonight, and for her to be able to see so many members of her community, of our community, that she's looked up to, that have inspired her, that have held her down, you know, had her back, is pretty huge. And there's not too many moments where I'm, as a parent, where I get to deliver that in this kind of way. So I'm pretty thrilled. I'm just really happy to be here and happy to be a part of sharing the community.
Dealing with gender expression and gender sexuality, like we've had with our daughter. So God has given us, you know, nothing happens by mistake. He puts us in the position in life that we're in, and it's for a reason. So we're out here on the forefront. It's our job to help educate.
Once Zaya, 12-year-old, came home, and first Zion, everybody, I don't know if everyone knows, originally named Zion born as a boy, came home and said, hey, So I want to talk to you guys. You know, I think going forward, I'm ready to live my truth. And I want to be referenced as she and her. I would love for you guys to call me Zaya. And so internally, now is our job to, one, go out and get information, to reach out to every relationship that we have. My wife reached out to everybody on the cast of Pose. And we're just trying to figure out as much information we can to make sure that we give our child the best opportunity to be, you know, her best self.
You don't get to package your child's life as a storyline and then cry victim when people have opinions. You put your family out there. You made it public. You monetized it. So now the public gets to talk. But this isn't just about Zaya. This is about a disturbing pattern. Because if you zoom out, Zaya isn't the only celebrity child being paraded in front of the cameras for their identity. Fans have pointed out that Hollywood seems to have a rising number of trans kids born to high-profile parents, and the timing almost always aligned with brand pivots, media tours, or sudden surges in public goodwill. Some have even gone as far as to suggest that what's happening isn't natural, it's orchestrated. And while that might sound like conspiracy, just listen to the way Cat Williams talked about it. He said 20 years ago he knew transgender visibility would become a tool not just for inclusion, but for control. That certain rituals, if you will, were being disguised as progress. And that the industry has a way of rewarding those who play along. At the center of all this is a 6-year-old girl who never asked to be dissected this way. But the truth is, she was never given a choice. From the moment Zaya sat down with Dwyane and Gabrielle and asked to be called by a new name, she wasn't just their daughter, she became a product, a symbol, a brand ambassador, a marketing tool. And whether you believe that was done out of love or out of strategy depends on how much faith you have in Hollywood parenting. But what fans keep coming back to is the silence around Savon Funches, the biological mother, the one who held her when she was born, the one who now watches from the outside, silenced, erased, legally sidelined, and all for daring to say what every parent prays they never have to say. Let her wait, let her grow, let her decide when the world isn't watching. But by then, it might be too late. Because as the headlines pile up, as the sponsorships roll in, and as the spotlight gets hotter, it's becoming harder and harder to tell where Zaya Wade ends and the Wade family brand begins.